what we're going to do is just do a little bit of paving in this area, and it's if you've got a small area at home and you can do some sort of paving, whether it's crazy paving or laying paving slabs, whatever you can find to show that you can lay them level, then we'll use that as a bit of evidence towards your construction qualification in landscape. So what we've got here, I've got a couple of slabs. You can see I've set a line just by wrapping it round a brick. Give myself a straight line. Always try to work to a line, whether in landscaping or building. It helps to speed up the process. Obviously this is only a tiny area, so it's not essential. You could use a spirit level which would do the same job over that area, so there's not too much to be gained on this particular one. Might just wrap that out a little bit more, actually, just to give that a little bit more room there. That's it, just pull it out a little bit more. Okay, so what we can do is we can look at the size of our paving slab, and you can see I've actually got a lap which is about that size, but you can always use a level, and you can put a little marker on there to show the size. Now that's quite useful, because what we're going to do is we're just going to do these on what we call a box and spot method of laying slabs. Okay, so I'm going to put my lat in there just as a guide that I know that that's about the size of my box. What we're going to do is to just put a strip of mortar, just a little strip of mortar there around the sides like that. One there. You can put a full bed. Full bed is good. Just need a little bit more in the corner there. But what you don't want to do is just do 5 dots, because that will, it's sort of weaker for the slabs, not as strong. So by doing this method for these slabs, it's okay. Obviously a lot of other slabs we use a full bed, but by the time that's squashed, that will pretty much give you a full bed. So I've got that set up there. Get my slab. Okay. And then what I do is I balance it on my foot, and then as I lay it, I go to lay it and I just flip it just flip it onto there. Okay, so it's just sitting on there, just a couple of mil away from the line. So it's just sat on top. Don't drop one edge, because that will squash it and then you won't be able to get it level. I would think, looking at this, it's leaning that way, the ground's going that way. Now it's okay to have a slight fall. At the moment it's too big a fall for what I want. I'm going to have what we call a bubble touch. So the bubble is just touching the black line. So I'll leave that in place. I'll support that side because I don't want that to go any lower, and we'll just tap that about 2/3 up. Okay, so now it's leveled it. Now I'll put the fall back on it there just a little bit. That's bubble touch there. Check it this way, and that's actually level that way. Have a look on the line. Yeah, it's about 2 mil off the line. So that's the first one laid there. So now what I can do, we'll get on to the second one. So again, I can use my little piece of wood there to give me a guide. I'm going to use about a centimetre joint, but I'm just going to pop that in there. Pop that one there. And all I'm doing is just grabbing a kind of a strip of mortar from the wheelbarrow, ease it up there a little bit, blob in the middle, and then down, we just pop a little bit more just in there, and a little bit more on the corners. That's often where you need a little bit more. A little bit more in there. Okay, so now I've got that there. What I'll do, take a bit from there, drop that in. I'm going to lay this one in as well. So again, we'll just bend the knees. I can pop it onto that one, lift it up, and then we'll just sit that in place. Just sit it on top. And we've just got about a centimetre gap there. See, it's a little bit higher, but that's okay at the moment. We want it to be a little bit higher. And then what we're going to do, we're going to tap it down into place. Now I'm just going to do a little bit by eye to begin with, and then as you can see, if you put your spirit level on top, that is a little bit high at the moment. It's just about get a trowel underneath. It's just a fraction high that way. We'll check it this way. It is pretty level that way, so I now know that if I can just tap that down a couple of mil, that will do it. So with that, I'm just going to move that off just a second. Okay, tap it down a couple of mil, and then we've now got that sitting absolutely flat on there. Okay, so it's sitting nicely, it's nice and level that way, and that's all set up now, ready to do some pointing. So if you can do that at home, you can just put that on the side there just to check that we're okay there. Yeah, that's fine. And now you're ready to do your pointing. Now, to do the pointing, there's lots of different ways we can point today. There are lots of sort of resin-based mixes that you can actually brush in even in wet weather. In fact, they're better in wet weather. And you wet down the air and you brush in the mix, and it's the easiest way of doing it. But we're going to look at the old traditional way. So what you can do is you can put like a piece of 1/4 inch ply or something just to protect this joint. If you're using mortar, normally it's quite a dry mix. This is a little bit wet. The trouble with the slightly wet mix, you can stain your slabs, and you don't really want to stain your slabs. So you've got to protect your slabs as much as you can. And so what we're going to do, we're just going to clean up make sure your trowel is nice and clean. Okay, so I've got a bit of mortar. And what I can do, in fact, what I'll do with this one, I'll switch that round. So that's protecting that side, and what we'll do is we'll put a bit of mortar on the back of that one. And what you can do, you can actually just do that. So now I'm protecting this side and that side. Now normally you'd wait for the slabs to go off and you'd be pointing the next day. So what I can do, I can just literally chop that into that gap. Okay, just chop your mortar in, because if you don't chop it in and there's a frost, or if water gets in here, then it freezes, then you're going to have a problem, because it's going to break that joint all out. So you really have to spend a bit of time chopping it in. It does take a lot longer than the modern resin mixes, where you can just sort of brush them in, and it's a lot quicker. We'll now just make sure that we're nice and full. I just move those away. Just want to make sure that the joint is full on the edge. So we'll just pop a little bit of mortar on there, a little bit on the trowel. Keep that nice and firm. Once we've got that, now we can begin to just run that through. Just trim that up a little bit. As you go. Now it depends on what kind of joint you want. Now you could go for a slightly angled joint, whereby you're angling it a little bit just to marry them two up. You could just fill it like this. Okay, just by putting a little bit on your trowel. So we could just fill it up nicely like that. Any excess, just trim that away. nice, fairly full joint. And again on this side, we'll just fill that in. Okay, so you could fill it up like that, and if you want to, you could get a jointer and run the jointer through. Or if you haven't got a jointer and you're thinking, what can I use to improvise, then a bit of old drainage pipe or a bit of old plastic pipe, run that through there like that, run it the other way, and then you've got your joint, and then you let that go off a bit and then brush that little bit of these few dregs, brush them away. Okay, so that would give you just a bit of laying a slab, pointing up. And so if you could do something like that, or a bit of crazy paving, or just something where you've used a level and you've done a bit of pointing, that will be enough evidence to show that you're laying slabs.